Yes. Portal 2, one of the best games ever made. Truly, I wish just about every day I wake up for a sequel to Portal, and its many, many amazing gameplay elements and humor. The beginning chapter of Portal, now how I start this game, as I believe I discussed before, I will be trying to record each and every chapter as a quick break from the chapter, record audio after, and then keep going, so that it's a little bit more Let's Play like, but I'm still talking about the actual game itself, because that way I am able to cover more of just the game, its history, all of that, while also covering the gameplay, the story. You get the idea. But as I was saying, Portal 2, the first chapter, is truly amazing. You have your introduction to show how things have mostly been kept the same across all of Aperture Labs, across really all of Aperture Science and their practices with test subjects. Following this by showing an amazing display of the physics engine at the time, and even today the graphics hold up very, very well. Mix that in with the story really ramping up in pace immediately, introducing Wheatley out the gate to make sure the audience is engaged with a character that is already funny. I could talk for probably the entire length of this podcast, double it, just about how Wheatley the character is so fun, and all of his thousands of lines of dialogue that he has, depending on if you don't immediately move from a location once he tells you to. It's very, very interesting, very, very fun. I love it very much. Not too long after meeting Wheatley, we accidentally activate GLaDOS again, in which our immediate big bad force is introduced, and we, of course, get to enjoy the bountiful relationship, I guess I would call it, between Shell and GLaDOS, as they have this very entwined, just, belief of I hate this person with my guts, but I kind of have to continue on with my job, with what I'm supposed to do, with what I have to do, because putting this in more lore terms, GLaDOS no longer has as many morality cores and other cores attached to her body guiding her thoughts. What she does in these moments near the beginning of the game, she does for a mixture of the actual body that hosts her consciousness and her actual consciousness speaking to her and telling her to do these things. Most likely driven almost entirely from revenge. But who can truly say why someone might do heinous actions after being brutally murdered and locked in a robotic consciousness for thousands of years, or more like hundreds of centuries, probably not thousands of years, but you get the idea. Actually, before I continue on with the next part, that does kind of lead into the fact that I'm not going to be talking about the full overarching lore of all of Portal 2 and how it connects to Half-Life 2 and Half-Life the series and all of that. I will possibly mention it a few times, especially when the game itself mentions it and makes its own connections, but I'm not going to try and be a full-on analysis video here, don't worry. I'm not going to try and bloat this with just random talking instead of the actual gameplay or story. I'm back after playing another chapter of Portal 2, and oh my goodness, I forgot how much I love the aesthetics of Portal 2. The way the facility is slowly being put back together and the way you kind of watch the hydraulics of each tile is amazing. The mechanics of Portal has been expanded in these chapters, and I absolutely love it. I love the way the lasers, aerial faith plates, I love the whole lore. Portal has a whole amazing job of giving you story through tiny details or just offhand trivia that doesn't relate to actual science, but the quote about the same room of air you will breathe for the rest of your life because they're just pumping in and out the same carbon dioxide and then making it oxygen, putting it back in. It's like a hospital, it's like a plane. It's the same amount of air. I love how much the random exposition makes sense and how natural it feels. And obviously, this will tie in with later gameplay when they do that again. No spoilers, not like I've already said anything spoiler worthy. Definitely. It should be noted at this point, and probably should have been noted before, that every one of these little commentaries I am reading off of a partially written script that I wrote while playing the game. So obviously when I read some of this stuff, it's vitally important to note that. Otherwise, it may seem like I'm a little off track or I'm not exactly keeping track of everything. I am trying to keep track of everything I've talked about. Don't worry. Anyway, as connecting with that kind of sense of disconnected notes, the banter between Shell and GLaDOS, I guess just GLaDOS talking at you, the player, slash Shell, I love it so much. I love the way the game is clearly making insults towards you, but also in the fact that they're so blown out of proportion, they're so dramatic that they don't really connect. They don't actually insult you in any way. They're just there. They exist exclusively to be comedic in a way and to have you be called effectively bad for what you did when you were defending yourself. On the next chapter now, the chambers are getting more and more fixed up, and I really love how much it sets up the mood of the facility being worked on in the background. It's so much more noticeable when I'm viewing it over a much quicker outside length of gameplay, but even in game you do kind of feel it, how things get more polished instead of there being like ground that's broken and plants growing through the floorboards, I guess floor panels. It's much closer now to there just being like unpainted walls or other ideas that aren't fully there, and then by this point in the game, yippee, here we are, full polished chambers. GLaDOS says that everything's like now fully up and running again, and then also immediately threatens you because I had to get rid of all the old trash. Wheatley, oh Wheatley. Wheatley is such a funny character, and he talks so much. It feeds my need to find every little thing in a game, find all the secrets, and it's also really bad for me because it kind of keeps resulting in me wasting time trying to record footage for the podcast. Too bad. I love this game. Sure would be a lot faster if I didn't like the game I was covering. Too bad, I guess. I already said too bad. Okay, this next note is mostly just me talking about how GLaDOS keeps calling us a fat orphan that's evil and bad and blah, 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 blah. To be fair, this is kind of an hour plus of gameplay, and I didn't exactly expect how much it would be tying into the whole opening story. Also, I think I am staying for longer than most YouTubers, getting extra dialogue. Oops. Having to watch walkthroughs, maybe my last comment about an hour should have been more like 40 minutes. I was not even halfway done with the belittling, by the way. I will not be recording that section yet, though. Sad to say. That's for next time. But dear goodness, I did not realize how much I actually was just staying and wasting time in this game. Although I have a strong feeling I will be going a lot faster in the next one, due to the fact that I already mostly know all of the upcoming pieces of story to the point where I don't actually need to stay around and listen to them, and I do remember a surprising amount of later puzzles, apparently. Sadly, this game is very, very long. Like this podcast. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part of this video.